Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Woke McDonald's panics sued for $10 billion over racist advertising. McDonald's really is being sued for $10 billion, and it's from a serious player who does have resources. The accusation is they're racist. Their advertising buys, the money that they're spending on advertising is racist. They're not spending enough money in the right categories to attract the right people with the right skin colors. A judge looked at this and said, you know something? I'm not going to say that it's correct, but I'm not going to say that it's incorrect. Let's have a jury trial. And if you're a judge, why not have a jury trial? I'm going to say this. We'll go through the whole story. And there are some nuances and there are some details. But when you are trying to sell a product, you have to identify who you want to sell the product to. Like, who is your ideal customer? Picking out your ideal customer is not necessarily an easy thing. You go through statistics, you go through numbers, you go through results. And what you look at is, when you're in business, who's your most valuable customer? Valuable in terms of repeat business, profit margin, things like that. It's not, of course, just for McDonald's, it's for all business. So you create a target of, okay, this is my most profitable customer. I want more of these kinds of customers. So I'm going to spend money to reach those people specifically. That really is a norm. Unfortunately, yes, there are categories that might mean people of certain ages, people of certain socioeconomic status, people of certain skin colors, even people of religions. That's extremely normal for marketing. Companies do need to target what they're trying to pursue, or they're never going to get it. They can't just equally advertise in all places so as not to offend anyone or make them feel like they're discriminated against. That's the general overview. That is what's going on. Let's get into the story. Now, the guy who's bringing this lawsuit is Byron Allen. Byron Allen's an American businessman, film and television producer, and comedian. He's the founder of the U.S. media company, Allen Media Group. And Allen Media Group is a serious business, and he definitely has the resources to make problems for McDonald's. McDonald's is a woke company. Vivek Ramaswamy was after McDonald's just about a year ago over their woke policies. From the Wall Street Journal, anti-woke firm targets McDonald's for diversity policies. And from Fortune, McDonald's is removing ESG from parts of its website amid a conservative backlash against woke capitalism. But this lawsuit is not over wokeism. This lawsuit is over racism. From The Hollywood Reporter, Byron Allen's $10 billion discrimination lawsuit against McDonald's over ad spending to go to trial. The lawsuit accuses the fast food giant of violating federal and state civil rights laws by maintaining a separate lower ad tier for companies that produce content aimed at a Black audience, which is to say, they have a certain specific budget level. And if you're going to target a certain audience, it's not going to exceed that budget level. And that means if you produce media that reaches that ad level, that lower level, you're not going to get access to the full budget. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, wait a minute. Why would every company who is selling advertising have access to every other company's highest ad spending? Like, what exactly is that? Isn't it supposed to be that if I'm going to sell advertising, let's say on my YouTube channel or my TV channel or my cable channel or whatever it is I got, I don't have some kind of civil right to have people advertising on any of my networks. But this guy thinks he does. And he's willing to sue them over this. And who knows? Sometimes you get a settlement, you might as well sue. U.S. District Judge Fernando Olgun found that McDonald's may have violated civil rights laws by relegating Byron Allen's networks to meager advertising tiers specifically reserved for companies that produce content targeted to Black audiences. And when you say it like that, it does sound bad. But we do get classified in marketing. People target people who have a certain net worth, married couples, single people, people with this age to that age. It's actually quite normal. But if you're going to make a civil rights complaint over it, now you're getting into a new category. Though it was a close call, the judge said, he ruled that there's enough evidence indicating that entertainment studios and the Weather Channel television network were shut out of the fast food giant's much larger general marketing budget for a jury to consider the case. In a public statement, McDonald's said that the ruling simply means that neither party met the high standard for a dismissal, and that the case must still be considered by a jury. But we're prepared to show that this case is utterly baseless. McDonald's invested in media properties that align with the company's business strategy and, like any other rational business, declined to invest in those that had low ratings or failed to reach the company's target audiences. Allen said in a statement, "There's overwhelming evidence of discrimination by McDonald's. It's time for the McDonald's board of directors, stockholders, and civil rights organizations nationwide to call for the resignation of CEO Chris Kempczynski, who was caught sending a racist text message about Black and Hispanic people," according to Allen. A racist text message? I don't know. I mean, I guess if he did, that's not a good thing to do. Why would you make that public statement? What does that have to do with the lawsuit? That he sends out racist text messages, according to Mr. Allen, and as a result, fire him or pull him off the company? What are they doing here? And also, where's Benjamin Crump? Where's Al Sharpton? If they're not in on this game, then there's no real shakedown yet. Allen, who seeks upwards of $10 million in the lawsuit, was referencing messages from Kempczynski to Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot in 2021, blaming the death of 2 Black and Latino children on their parents. One of the children, Jaslyn Adams, was shot and killed sitting in a car with her father in a McDonald's parking lot. Quote, "The parents failed those kids, which I know is something you can't say," he wrote. "Even harder to fix." Well, that's not racist to criticize people's parents. I don't know exactly what the situation was, but you can blame people's parents when something happens to the children if the kids weren't being watched by their parents, but maybe the parents had nothing to do with it. That's not racist. A month after the messages surfaced, Allen filed a lawsuit accusing McDonald's of violating federal and state civil rights laws that bar racial discrimination when negotiating and enforcing contracts. The case revolves around allegations that the company utilizes a multi-tier approach to purchase advertising. In the general marketing tier, McDonald's from 2006 to 2021 contracted with an advertising agency, OMD Worldwide, to allocate its budget among white-owned media companies, according to the complaint. Another tier with a much smaller budget, allegedly handled exclusively by a different ad agency, Burrell, is reserved for companies that produce content aimed at a Black audience, according to the lawsuit, which notes that Entertainment Studios, that's one of Byron's companies, was pigeonholed into this group since Allen is the owner. The judge's ruling, issued on November 30th, held Allen's companies may have been blocked by McDonald's from serious consideration by OMD, its general ad agency, among other things. To support arguments that it was relegated to a less desirable contracting tier, Allen Media Group offered testimony from Chief Revenue Officer Darren Gallett, who said regardless of an annual plea to be taken and considered out of OMD, our companies were forced into a relationship with the Black agency, even though their content is not exclusively Black targeted. He added OMD told the companies consistently that they had to go and deal with Burrell. Well, that does seem a little unfair that they're told, well, if you want to advertise with us, we've decided that your contact is this account person, this account manager, and this agency is your account manager. If you'd like to sell us some ads, offer our designated account manager whatever deal you'd like to offer. And if you convince them, they may buy ads from you on our behalf. I mean, literally, that normally is how it works. If you have something to sell and you contact a company that might buy it from you, they would say, okay, well, we're not interested. Or they might say, okay, if we are interested, here's the purchasing agent at our company that you would speak to. You don't actually get to say when you're trying to sell something, oh, I'd like to deal with this purchasing agent, not that purchasing agent. I want access to your biggest budgets, not your smallest budgets. You can't put me in touch with that person. The answer you're normally supposed to get in a situation like that is not what race are you. You're supposed to get an answer like, okay, you sound like you're difficult to deal with. We're giving you an opportunity here. We're McDonald's. We're a big account. This has nothing to do with skin color, yours or anyone else's. Whatever you have to sell, contact our purchasing agent. And then sometimes, sure, there can be a flaw in the relationship because you're getting the second tier purchasing agent. You're not getting the number one contact. And the number one contact is where all the fun is and the money and all that other stuff. But you're going to get excluded sometimes. You have to prove yourself to get included. And then sometimes things are just a little bit unfair. And that is what life is. You can't just go around suing people for $10 billion because you don't have what your customer might want. But you can if you're Byron Allen. As a result, Allen's companies allegedly weren't seriously considered for an advertising contract through OMD, the fancy purchasing agent. Internal company emails indicated that agency executives told representatives for entertainment studios and the Weather Channel, those are Allen's companies, that they were expected to go solely through Burrell to seek advertising from McDonald's. OMD's chief investment officer, Crick Garachi, for instance, wrote in an email to the companies, quote, "I've been trying to get help to get you more business beyond Hershey, and I know that PepsiCo is considering, McDonald's will consider, but not through OMD." This was corroborated by OMD Group Director Deborah Inns, who wrote Galat, quote, "Just a reminder that Burrell is the agency of record for McDonald's and entertainment studios." This relationship with advertising agencies is important, and it is also part of the story. The ad agency makes a percentage of the marketing spend that they get from their clients. So an ad agency gets, let's say, $100 million. They buy $100 million worth of ads on behalf of their client. They might make 15% of that, roughly speaking. And that's how the agency makes money. If you start taking clients away from one agency and giving them to the other agency, then the agencies don't make the money that they're supposed to be making. Doesn't really seem like it's possible that for a race claim of some sort, some civil rights claim, that McDonald's or major ad buyers are going to be able to not have one specific dedicated agency to one category and then another agency for another category. What about the Burrell people? Like, do they want to really lose the business? Because McDonald's could pull all their advertising from that one smaller agency and then just put it all with the one larger agency. But just because the larger agency is handling now, let's say, the combined budget, keeping in mind that now there is no dedicated agency for handling with Black audiences specifically, right? So they had an agency carved out for that. There would be opportunity, and I'm sure there's massive buying they're doing through that smaller agency's budget, but consistent dedicated funds. But aside from that, so you're going to kill that opportunity for everybody else. You'll put all the buying into the larger agency, cancel the contract with the small one, just so that Byron Allen has access to the larger budget, which doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get 1% or a fraction of any percent of that larger budget. If it were me, this would be the end of our business relationship once this court case was done and you lose your case. Even if he wins his case, I'm not going to buy ads from that guy if I'm McDonald's. I'm going to say, look, if you sue us for any reason, we don't want to do business with you. We don't think it was right, even if he wins. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's going to lose business over this. And the Burrell agency, if this was successful for some reason, is also going to lose business and will not get the dedicated buying to that specific niche Black audience that they otherwise would have gotten. It's going to hurt a lot of people. Also, a part of the court's analysis was testimony from Reach TV's Linwood Bibbins. He similarly claimed that he was forced to contract through Burrell, even though his network features general content. When he sought to have McDonald's advertise on the network in 2022, he initially spoke to OMD, but Burrell was subsequently brought in to lead the decision-making process, according to a court declaration. So what is going on with McDonald's? Why is it, if it seems like they have a Black owner, they want to deal specifically with this one agency? Was it really because McDonald's went out? And keep in mind, they're in trouble over their woke policies as it is. They are pushing these agendas. They're cool with pushing these agendas. But do they really think McDonald's went out and said, we're going to create this other smaller agency to limit people's opportunity? No, that was like the easy door opportunity to make sure that they were putting some business into those specific markets. And if you look at it, it looks like, yes, it was people where they were predominantly Black ownership of those media outlets so they could funnel money to those media outlets specifically. We'll have to see how this goes as the case goes on. but I'm having a hard time believing that McDonald's created this small subsidiary buying relationship for its advertising just so it could target Black business owners and not give them business and exclude them from McDonald's advertising. It's kind of the opposite of what all big companies have been doing. It would also be interesting to see what are the terms that Burrell gives to their people that they're buying advertising from versus OMD. It's probably more difficult to get business with OMD than it is to get business from Burrell because, again, it's another one of those kinds of subsidy programs. I don't know. I haven't looked at the contracts and spoken to executives at Burrell or OMD, but we all know where this is going. In defense of its practices, McDonald's maintained that it uses objective criteria to evaluate media partners. It said that Allen's companies had insufficient viewership since it didn't meet its usual threshold of 60 million viewers, and that it has a no news restriction that prevents it from advertising with Allen's company, The Weather Channel. How dare they have a no news policy? Isn't that racist? No, I don't think that's racist. It's racist against rain. The issue of whether Allen's networks provide the same reach as McDonald's other media partners remains contested, with the media mogul claiming that his properties meet the minimum viewership criteria, among other things. In a declaration from Tom Noonan, an expert in network and TV programming, he said that news networks like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, HLN, and the Weather Channel are similarly situated from an advertiser's perspective because their content and programming is similar. He added, a courtroom drama-focused network like JusticeCentral.tv is similarly situated to true crime networks like Oxygen and HLN in that they feature courtroom shows that target and reach the same audience, and that ESN's Recipe.tv is similarly situated with Food Network and Cooking Channel. Whatever his expert advice is, if the advertiser decides they don't want to advertise on news networks, it's not racist for them to not advertise on news networks. A jury will assess whether McDonald's had legitimate, non-discriminatory reasons for exclusively assigning Burrell to the Weather Channel and Entertainment Studios, his two companies, or if they were pretext to hide discrimination. On this issue, McDonald's stressed that Allen's networks didn't have widespread appeal among all races for advertising spending in the general market and that they weren't Nielsen rated until 2017. Quote, the evidence is unclear, or at a minimum, disputed as to whether the General Advertising Agency regularly evaluated proposals, including plaintiffs' proposals regarding generally targeted content, according to the judge who wrote this on summary judgment. Plaintiffs have thus identified sufficient evidence to support their relegation theory. And that theory would be that because a Black person owns these media networks, you relegated us to your Black company-only agency to make sure that you got some business from us, but you weren't necessarily going to get all of the business budget that is set aside for larger advertisers. But what you do get is a dedicated representative who is looking to buy from you just because of your skin color. You've got a special discriminatory advantage to your benefit, not to your detriment. That's the McDonald's argument. In February 2024, so this isn't the first lawsuit with these guys, McDonald's defeated a lawsuit from the Allen Media Group, the same guys, accusing the fast food giant of lying when it pledged to increase national ad spending with Black-owned outlets to boost sales and avoid high-profile legal action over alleged racial discrimination near the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. In that case, a Los Angeles judge concluded the company still has more time to live up to its vow. So discrimination's okay with Byron Allen, as long as you discriminate to his personal financial advantage. I mean, come on, guys. In 2021, McDonald's reached a $33.5 million settlement with Herb Washington, a Black franchisee, meaning he owned a McDonald's store, who accused the company of maintaining discriminatory policies that allegedly deprived Black store owners from operating locations in prime areas. It followed the settlement of a lawsuit accusing McDonald's giving preferential treatment to white operators. I'm not buying this idea that having a separate purchasing agent for your advertising dedicated specifically to giving opportunities to Black business owners necessarily means that you're trying to exclude people from your larger media budget. Yes, you're going to have a specific budget that's associated with each of those specific agencies. And yeah, that's discriminatory, but it's not discriminatory based on skin color. It's discriminatory in support of people's skin color. We'll have to see how McDonald's makes their arguments, but I assume it's going in that direction. Companies can't be forced to buy services from other companies because of skin color. It has to be a basis of merit. If you have something that they want to buy that's of value to them, they're going to buy it. And if they don't buy it, it's going to be so valuable that someone else will buy your advertising. What's a little bit more real is that advertising, I'm sure, on the Weather Channel is not doing what it used to do just a few years ago because everyone's canceling cable. All the cable channels are in severe financial stress. It's common knowledge, but if you can try to squeeze a few $1 billion out of McDonald's for racism accusations, you may as well go for it. But don't be surprised in the future when things turn around the other way and people say, you know what? No, I'm not going to have a special little agency for you. I'm not going to have anything for you. If you make trouble for my company, don't come asking me for doing any business. Sue me. If you win, keep the money. If you lose, you're not going to get any business from us in the future. And if you're not going to make it on merit, you're not going to make it at all. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.